So, I want to say maybe a couple years ago, I did a video about boundaries. I actually taught a class about boundaries where I discussed how you have to create boundaries and, you know, um, because we're always learning and growing. At the time, um, I might have explained that boundaries are for yourself and for the other person, right? The truth of the matter is, we are brought into this world and we don't know the proper use of the term boundaries because we're not taught it. Like, you're born and then your parents completely invade your boundaries as a baby, but they have to because like you can't pee into a potty yet, you can't say no. As you get older, children express boundaries, but it's also like a power struggle with them, so they're like trying to learn that. And even then, as parents, we always don't teach them appropriate boundaries. We also don't show them boundaries because it takes so much longer for us to come into that understanding. So I wanted to visit this topic because we're stepping into 2024. We need to be firm on our boundaries for ourselves because you can only control you, so you can only put a boundary in place for yourself. And a boundary looks like, if you're a giver, I'm going to modify my giving. I'm going to make sure that I give when I have the capability to. You can't pour from an empty cup. How many times do we hear this universally? You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give if you don't have. But that's never really explained. So I'll explain it in my terms as a mom. When I'm not feeling tip top, and that means I've worked all day, I've given into work, I haven't had a moment to decompress, and then it's my daughter, and it's 24/7, all the time. I need. Mommy, can I do this? Can we do this? Mommy. I'm depleted. I don't have anything to give to her because I am depleted. I probably didn't sleep well because that's the thing. I think that's number one thing they need to tell you as a parent. You stop sleeping because literally you're worried about these small humans. And then even my mother, like, I don't think she sleeps because she worries about me and my sisters. Anyway, so what I have to do frequently is tell her, mommy needs me time. Mommy needs time to decompress, to do something that she enjoys for her, whether that's listening to music, singing loud and proud out loud in the room and not caring, going into my bedroom and watching Netflix, like just something that fills me up so that then I can engage with her and be present and be active and enjoy. I have a feeling that my light is kind of bright. I think I need to turn it down. Let's see. Oh, way better. I look like me now. Thanks. Raw and unedited, this is me. You're going to get it. So I say all that to say we need to set those boundaries in place. And then what we set for other people are rules. So my daughter now understands when mommy gets off from work, she needs about an hour, sometimes 2 hours, depending on how bad the day has been, before she can, I like that a little bit better. Sorry. Before she can engage with me and be present. Now, there are some things where that doesn't matter. Like if she's hungry, if I'm depleted, I'm still feeding my child because it's a basic need and I need to meet that basic need. But if it's something like, can you play with me? Can we go to the movies? Can we go to the mall? Pause on the play. Mama needs a minute. In intimate relationships, like with our friends, with our significant others, sometimes we forget and we think we need to put a boundary in place for them. And remember, the limitation on a boundary is for yourself. I'm only going to give as much as I can give. I'm only going to engage as much as I can engage. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't have the capacity right now. There's nothing wrong with saying, I need to revisit this when I'm feeling like I can be present. I'm not in a place to receive this. I'm not in a place to handle. Because that's respecting your boundary and then putting the rule in place for the person to say, oh, I can't just dump on her whenever. I can't just dump on him whenever. I can't just do what I want to do when I want to do it because it's convenient for me, because my timing and your timing are different. I say that in relationships with other people, like your friends and your significant others, sometimes you forget and you violate your own boundaries. My cousin and I have been talking about this because she's being triggered and we unpack stuff together. That's the relationship we have. So she's been triggered by a particular friendship that she has. And like we've been talking about it for like 2 days, and like it's been a conversation we've had over the span of a while, because this person gives her gripe a lot, like. And it was today when Spirit came to me and was like, this is a repeated cycle for her, and it's almost like for her, why did I allow this to happen? And it came back to boundaries, which prompted this whole video, because I was like, shit, we need to discuss this. Like, I might have previously educated people incorrectly, but then also we have to be firm for 2024. This is a new year. We're stepping into it because, you know, everybody does the new year, new me shit, even though, whatever, excuse my language. You get what you get on here. We all do new year, new me. We're always trying to figure out what we doing, what we not doing, who we dealing with, how we gonna deal with it. We leaving people in the past. Leave the person that allowed that behavior in the past. And that means you need to reflect within and set the boundary within. If you know your friend only hits you up because they need $20 before payday, set the rule. I don't have it. I won't have it. I'll never have it. I need it internally. And then another topic I want to also discuss is oversharing. I'll get to that because that's like a weird thing that I'm learning that I do. Please excuse me. When curls don't sit right, I get bothered. That still ain't staying right. Whatever. When you set a rule, it doesn't have to be dramatic. Like, for instance, when I get in conflict with people, I don't like to be in that place. So if we're having a discussion and our heads keep butting and we're going back and forth and then we're getting nasty, at some point I'll go, you want to know what? This conversation is no longer progressing in a positive manner. We're not learning anything from each other. We're not hearing each other. We're listening to respond and not listening to understand. So for that reason, I'm going to end this conversation and I want to end it on a positive note. So it might be something like, I hope you have a wonderful day. I love you. Something. Because I am like that with my friends and the people I care about. Like, I always tell them that I love them because that's important. Sometimes people don't know that they're loved, right? So that's a rule that I have for other people. But the boundary that I set in place for myself is, because I love so deeply, I hurt just as deep when I get in conflict with people. Me and one of my best friends didn't talk for like 8 months. And I understood the reasoning for it. And I learned a lot about myself in that time. But that shit tore me up because, like, that's my friend and I really love her. So I didn't like it. But anyway, because of that, because of those things about me, I can't continue to fight and argue because I also am a brooder. So, like, if somebody says something to me in a conversation and I leave the conversation where we're like, all right, whatever, bye, like me and Nasty, like we typically do, I brood on those moments and I'm like, I should have said this, and that's why they like this, and that's why this stuff happened to them, and oh, some bad stuff gonna happen because they was bad to me, and that's gonna be their karma. And I'm like that. And then sometimes I get vindictive with my thoughts, and that's no good. So the boundary for myself was, when it stops being a positive situation where you are not becoming negative and angry, you have to stop the conversation for your betterment and also for the longevity of that relationship. So then the rule in place for the other person is, we are ending this phone call and I will talk to you later. Now, it doesn't really work in person, but it does. You can go, hey, we're not getting anywhere. This isn't going anywhere positive. And I don't want to continue this. So let's just go to our separate spaces, or Maybe sometimes you just gotta leave. Just go get in your car. Do what you gotta do. I'm a big person. Like, sometimes I go scream in my car. I will ride to the park when it's nice outside. I really love nature, and I love like to be around water and the beach. So sometimes I also need to do that. Like, I have to feed myself positively so that I can engage in a more positive manner. So I just wanted to discuss that. So just quick recap: boundaries are for self, rules are for other people. Think about your boundaries. Think about the things that you allow and the things that you don't want to allow. Now, it's not something like, well, I ain't gonna be allowing that anymore, and it's simply because you're a little bit hurt. Like, think about why you're hurt. Think about why maybe this boundary was causing you angst, or why this situation, was causing you angst. So again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. Boundaries and rules, it's going to be a big thing. I'm going to discuss oversharing because I do it. I might have done it now, but so what? But until we meet again,